So where are we all based out of? I saw Amber joined in. Where are you at?
Hi, I'm in Los Angeles.
Ah, fantastic.
Yeah.
Okay. And a fellow photographer, I would assume.
Actually, I work with real people in
Oh,
casting. Yeah.
fantastic.
Okay.
Okay, yeah, great. So that this just is affecting you exactly like us. Well, anyway.
Yeah. Absolutely. This is so great that we're doing this. I appreciate it.
Oh, it's a pleasure. Yeah, it was, the type of thing is, obviously one of the most important things is that we stay connected and support each other and shift through all the crazy news out there and really kind of be a place that we can all kind of join once or twice a week and really just kind of get grounded and support each other and share ideas and how we get through this.
Definitely.
Definitely. And the great thing about it, Amber, that you're sharing it from a different perspective from a photographer. We always see it from one way being the creative, but to have someone that's on the production side speaking on it as well, that gives a great insight into what we're talking about today.
Oh, I hope I can help like we all can. Thank you.
We all have stories and to share and experiences to share, which is going to help everybody here. And, some of us may be coming from a panic state and some of us may be coming from a calm space. And so hopefully we all get to the same kind of a little mellower and understanding that it's not going to be as bad as some people make out. And for some, it might be a little worse than some people think. But at the same day, we can all prep ourselves to get through this and do really smart things and make use of this time.
Yeah, definitely.
As we still waiting for some people to join in here, I think we had about 40 some odd people that said they were going to join us today. So we're going to give like 10 minutes or something like that. What's people's experience has been so far? Have you done the shopping thing? Have you stocked up? What are you doing? And how bad has it been for you so far?
Well, for me, the shopping thing I kind of started last night, last minute. And it's just one of those things where it's all new to me. I'm from Miami, so this is my first time experiencing the panic of the city minds. So, last night was a real eye opener on, what get people moving and what they consider to be panic states here. So, if anything, hopefully we got enough to make it through this period and hope we can get everything out on control of what's going on and get ahead of it.
Yeah, it's how has it affected certain people so far, business-wise? I know for me, certainly, it's my whole calendar cleared out. Everything I've been working for months and months and months just suddenly cleared. I'm on the phone with airlines trying to change. I can't get through to Alaska Airlines, darn it. I tell you that for sure. So I'm still trying to get through to them. JetBlue, I was able to get through. In hotels, I was able to get through, but certain airlines I have not. He's like, I was on hold for 4 hours yesterday. I just had the phone in the background just playing music and just finally gave up.
Right.
I guess there are probably thousands of people were all trying to call them. So that
yeah, it's going to be. Someone's got a bumping mic there. Mute your mic. Moving around the mic. Conscious guys. If you're moving, I'm going to have to mute them.
someone's probably using their phone. Sounds like they just dropped their phone in the toilet or something.
Yeah, I heard the splash as well.
Hopefully they have toilet paper. Yeah, we're starting to get a bunch of people in here. We'll wait a couple more minutes and let people catch up. I know we're getting some people from coast to coast on this one, so we can share some experiences here. And the main part of this is I want to really hear what your needs are and what questions you have and how we can help each other in this time of need. There's going to be a lot of unknown, and everything's changing minute to minute. So it's going to be really important that we share and help each other through this. This is. Definitely, I think the first time any of us are going to experience something like this. And, unfortunately, a lot of us don't prep for days like this. So we're going to, the ones that have prepped are going to be a little less stressed on this than the ones that have not prepped. And we're going to go through some things that we should possibly do at this point to kind of really kind of use our time wisely and efficiently and, go through this. So we're going to kind of go through loosely here some stuff that I've, just a loose basic, things that I think are kind of important to touch base upon. And I certainly open this up to you guys as long as it doesn't get crazy to ask questions and stuff like that. We have, a wonderful co-host here who is starting a page, a business of photography. So I hope he knows something about business of photography. Why don't you introduce yourself, Antonio?
Hey everyone, my name is Antonio Martez. I'm a beauty and fashion photographer based right here in New York City. I'm also a founder of a Facebook group called the Business of Photography, where we kind of help a lot of photographers who don't understand the back end of the photography, past it, not just at the creative side, but the business side, to help them understand the day-to-day and how they can get their business running effectively and so they can win on purpose for 2020.
Yeah. Just if you're not talking at the moment or not asking a question, just mute your microphone. It's a little sec there so that we don't hear all these kind of people moving around and stuff like that. If you want to ask a question, there's a chat there. You can actually put something into the chat line and we can take a look at that. And we will be talking to taking questions like that. So we really kind of want this to be a starting off point of many of these open talks during this time of if everybody could just mute their mics. You know what? I'm just going to mute everybody for the moment. Okay. So the whole reason behind this is really to create a very good and safe space where we can share information and really kind of help each other through this very difficult period. There's going to be a lot of us that are very stressed and kind of panicking. That I know certainly for me, everything has been canceled. All my whole calendar is kind of cleared out within a day and two. And this is months and months of stuff that I've been working on. And, suddenly to see it clear like that is kind of an unbelievable thing. So with that, we're going to go over some topics here and really kind of help each other. And the one thing I would love to come out of this is if you have questions or if you have concerns or if you, have ideas, let's share those, because I want to have this open talk at least once a week to twice a week where we can have different guests. If you know someone that can come in and help us on a certain topic, maybe it's a lawyer or maybe it's a doctor or maybe it's just someone in the business of photography that can help us with ideas, help us. And I'm really easy to reach. And in case you don't know who I am, I'm Travis Keys. I'm the chairman of American Photographic Artists New York. And my email is chairman@apanewyork.com. And I would also stress, if you're not part of APA, to look us up, because we're a group of photographers in support of photographers, a huge advocacy group looking out for all of your interests, whether it be copyrights, and we have benefits, we have lectures, we have workshops, and we're really here to support one another. And especially in these times that are really, really stressful and difficult, where a lot of us are kind of worried where we're going to go from here and if we're going to make it. So we want to kind of be there to support and let people know where the right information is and the right support systems are. So that's really important. I'm going to unmute my host there so he can chime in here at any time. So when you saw all of this, what was the first thing you thought of business-wise to protect yourself, Antonio?
One of the first things that I thought about was to review my contracts and things, to make sure I have any type of kill clauses or any type of clause that are built in place for natural disasters, unforeseen circumstances, and things like that, to protect me as the business owner, as well as to protect my business. And I think that was the key thing that I had to look at first, to make sure that anything that could happen along the line that I didn't see coming, I'll stand protected from it. And I think that's the key that everyone should look at, is their contracts and going forward, and make sure that you have any type of kill clauses or any type of clause that protect you from any type of national disaster, no matter if it's something that's transmitted in the air, hurricanes, floods, and any of those things. A lot of times we don't think about we need those things in our clauses because we never think that it's going to happen to us. But the best way to do it is make sure you have something in there to safeguard you.
Yeah, and a lot of times this is not even going to come into play unless, the whole force majeure and all that, unless there, in some places, it doesn't even come to play unless there's a state of emergency declared, which actually has been declared. So this is, going to change a lot of things right there.
Right.
So this is pretty important that we kind of look at ourselves and see where we're at, And assessing your finances in the age of this, wonderful pandemic, it's so important right now to really take a realistic view of your position as a whole. And you really need to take a close look at your finances, where you're prepared, how long you are. You need to look at those monthly and recurring payments and prioritize essentials. If you need to, get rid of HBO for a month, or, reduce certain memberships, or this is the time to really kind of look at what those reoccurring things are, and understand, like, all right, I'm prepared for 2 months without any income, or I have 15 days, and really kind of understand where you're at. So, I would say I personally am kind of looking at 2 months of no jobs. I don't know. Hopefully it's shorter. Hopefully it's not longer. But 2 months until I actually go in there and say, all right, I'm going to cut this, cut that, and things like that. If you are in a more kind of dangerous situation, you really need to proactively get in there and set up payment plans, and use your credit cards wisely, and contact potential creditors where you might have problems, and really kind of plan this out now.
Right. I think the key thing also, as many of us as being small business owners, we use Stripe, Square, all those merchant services to make sure that we can safeguard ourselves during this time, because this is the time where our clients will start to panic as well and start reversing a lot of transactions and things like that to reverse money from us. So you have to really be careful and make sure you can safeguard yourselves, because a lot of times we use these working capitals from these companies such as PayPal, Stripe, and things as well, that we have to make monthly payments on just to keep our businesses afloat. So you really have to want to pay to kind of safeguard what you're doing. That way you don't have to have, things coming out your account that you're not necessarily prepared to handle.
Yeah, I mean, these are obviously very, very important things. At any point, I know we have some national members of APA on board, and some other things. If you have wonderful things you want to chime in at any time, please do. I know you have a wealth of information as we go through all this wonderful stuff. I think the next topic, besides really kind of, and we can come back to this in terms of finances and steps we can do. But the next one I would probably jump into is, now that we're sort of running into a point where we might have isolation and have to self-quarantine or be away from people, where do we kind of go to stabilize our mental health? Let's put it that way. So monitoring and maintaining your mental health. I think mindfulness is one of the most important things that we can really kind of pay attention to in this time. And whether it's, self-meditation, or, using an app like Mindspring, or something like some of those wonderful apps on or yoga, or wonderful thing. Mastery is really kind of go back to the wonderful thing that we do and we're so good at. If you're good at pottery, or if you're good at photography,
Right.
sure, if you're going back to your masterful moments and what makes you powerful and empowered, and remind yourself you've been through tough times before, and this is going to pass as well. Remember,
Right.
always exercise, movement's important, and most importantly is getting together is meaningful engagement. And you have to have these communications and really kind of balance yourself and find yourself in the position like we are right now, is sharing and talking to people, because isolation can be lonely, and we're very empathetic creatures as artists. So it's very important for us to kind of reach out to each other. What do you find yourself doing in these times to really kind of balance yourself?
Well, I know with me, I do a lot of accountability partners. I find other creators I could just have a one-on-one chat with from time to time, just to break the monotony up. Because as you said, as being creators, we kind of become creatures of habit, where we kind of find ourselves into our own solstice. And so a lot of times, just to find someone that holds you accountable, just to, to call and check in on you, to see how you're maintaining mentally as well as emotionally, And I think also you have to be that as to another creative as well, because we all depend on each other to survive right now.
Yeah, it's such an important aspect, and I know a lot of us are going to really need to lean on each other, because I don't know a time that I've ever seen. I mean, I've worked so hard to see every job disappear, and it's a hard enough industry right now to make a living. That when you suddenly see, like, oh my God, I don't have any money coming in, that can really cause panic, and you have to take this time to really kind of pull back for a moment and assess and really kind of get don't let you get into your head right now. I want to go into a couple of useful links here. Wonderful people all over from different organizations that put some stuff together. There's one at the top here, which I will share my screen right now with you. Let's share this. So useful links. There's a wonderful, can everyone see this? So hopefully, can you see this shared screen?
I don't see it now.
Well, then let's hit that button and do that. How's that?
Perfect.
Fantastic. So the very first one is the COVID-19 freelance artist resource. This is a huge list that wonderful people put together. I'm going to throw this here. As you can see, I'm going through here. It's got everything from general resources and preparation to advocacy for freelancers to emergency funding to all kinds of incredible stuff. So this is a great one. And if you do not, you don't have to write this down right away. What I'll do is what a great thing is if you join APA New York on Facebook, or if you look at other, I will try and put this up in other places as well, but APA New York Facebook group, I will put this up, or you can reach out to me at that email at chairman@apa.com, apanewyork.com, and we'll share this with you and make sure that you can get these lists, because they're huge resources right now. And a lot of us are going to have to look at, getting money and grants and loans and stuff like that to get through this period. Another great link is the assistance and guidance for business impacted due to coronavirus. This is great, and I know we have a production person in our not a photographer, we have a production person. So there is actually coronavirus and on-set productions. And this is what is important to, if you are actually on set, and your legal liabilities and what you need to do in terms of having a safe shoot and providing a safe environment for a shoot. So that's another important thing that we have here. SBA provide disaster assistance for loans and small business impacted by coronavirus is another important one that we need to have. The next one I would go into links are your health links. And these are the ones, don't trust Facebook. There was this wonderful one that's going around that I don't know if people have seen, that you have to drink water every 15 minutes and then hold your breath for 10 seconds. And if you can hold your breath for 10 seconds, that means you don't have coronavirus. Obviously, this is one of those fake ones. And I was on a call with my mom today and, kind of touching base with her and having this wonderful conversation. At the very last second, she goes, remember to drink water every 15 minutes. I'm like, oh no, Mom, did you read the one about the holding your breath? Like, yes. I'm like, it's not true. And I hear her yell off to my stepfather, the 10-second thing's not true. So really kind of, Snopes is a great thing. Do not get caught up in the buying of the toilet paper and all this drinking water stuff. So really, the social thing, you can get caught up in way too much right here, and it's just not going to be good for you. So that's why groups like here, where we can dispel a lot of this misinformation and stuff like that, is going to be really important for our sanity and for our healthful mindedness. And it's really important to provide those safe places where we can share as a group and really kind of learn. And it's the type of thing is like, if we help each other, we're going to get through this. And as a support system, it's the most important thing. And that's why I am, so involved with APA, is because I found my happy place as a photographer, and it took me years and years to do that. So if I can give back and help people at anything to, any way, and share that my happiness, I'm going to be here to nonstop to provide these open talks and share information and provide a space where we can all get together and kind of share and what we've learned and how we're getting through this, and tips and support.
Right. Some of the great things, and even though we're going through a social distancing process right now, I think the great thing is now we get a chance to find our balance. Where as photographers, we tend to throw ourselves completely in our work 100% of the time. Now you get a chance to really do work on you, spend time with family, and work on the things that really to make you a better business person overall. Sit down and take a time to work on a SWOT analysis, find out where your strengths, weaknesses, and threats and opportunities are. Find out, just what do you enjoy as a creative. Now is the time to invest back into you and do things that you really enjoy. So don't take this distancing time to really just do nothing but be on social media. Social media is there to pull you away from really designing what meaningful you just need to have what's going on in your life. So take the time and really find that balance and enjoy your creative time with you and your family.
Yeah, I think, and let's go right into that, because you kind of said, Greg Reiner, what the most important thing is, like we always say, we never have time to get that done, or we never have time to, get this done, or, but right now is that time.
Right.
You can set yourself up for success. You're going to have some downtime right now. You're going to have some stressful time right now, but where do we go and what do we do right now that we have this downtime? This is the time that you can, revamp that website, or organize your portfolio, or take an online course, or reach out to the people that you haven't to, or do some market research. This is the time to set yourself up. So once you finally are, out of this whole pandemic phase, that we're ready to hit the ground running. What are some tips that would you say in off time that are really good and useful for photographers to do right now?
Definitely, I'll say invest into looking at YouTube, something that's free, that where there's plenty of knowledge out there. Invest into your time and going into the YouTube, learning new skills, finding things, avenues to sharpen, whether it's your marketing, whether it's your understanding of lighting, whatever it is that you feel like your weakness is. There's so many avenues out there to really strengthen that. Then there's other great books out there. We got away from reading, so now it's time to find a great book to really just dive into and just let yourself lose yourself in and find your balance.
Yeah, and I think we definitely need to remind ourselves at this point, this will return to normal, and
Right.
this definitely has the potential to go places where are very frightening and scary. But we have to sit there and kind of base ourselves and really kind of look at how we're going to get through this. And if you live in fear every day, this is not going to be productive. So you really kind of sit there and really kind of dive into your art and what makes you happy, and find those happy moments of meditation, stuff like that. That doesn't mean not to be prepared and do the right things, but I got to tell you, like when I went to that grocery store and I was like, no, there's no way that everybody's buying all this toilet paper. And certainly, you know what? Today I went into that grocery store, that whole aisle was empty. I'm like, oh my God, this is crazy.
Right.
And it's creating up this mindset for people that you go in there, and I went in there to just buy a couple things and canned goods. I walked out with $300 worth of stuff. I'm like, well, what if I am locked in for 4 days? What I'm like,
right.
So even in the sanest of minds, it's going to drive people a little kind of batty. And I think we really need to get to that state where we're in a room here and we can all talk each other down and we can all help each other and provide this. And that's why, I think it's so important for us all to really kind of share. And at this point, it's like, if anyone has questions or wants to unmute their microphone and ask one, please juin in and then tell me how you're getting through this. I know we have some of the board members of APA New York here. Jeremy is on, and I believe we have a couple others. Juliet from National is on as well, and I know she's been tirelessly working on this and not only just for the advocacy of photographers through APA, but really fighting and knowledge, and is a huge voice for us all in the photo industry. So it's nice to have her on here as well. So if anyone, any questions or anything at this moment, we take a quick pause.
Okay, this is Bruce Byers. Can you hear me?
Hey, Bruce. Yeah.
Hey, Bruce.
Hey, Bruce. How you doing?
Good. So one of the things, previous board situation was to reach out to, we got to remember we're the Northeast. There's guys up in Maine that aren't walking down the street in New York saying hi to each other. I think this is an incredible time for APA to do what you're doing right now. But even if we have to, call the guys in Maine to tell them, hey, I sent you an email, you probably didn't pay attention to it, but get on because we want to talk. And there's so many things online we can do. We can do the peer.
Yeah. And just to let you know, Bruce, we are doing a peer review, a virtual peer.
But I'm just saying we could do that online.
Yeah, we are. We have one coming up online, and the information will go up on APA New York actually today. We will be doing that on Sunday. I'll come up with all the dates and times, but I believe it's next Sunday at 3 p.m. So it's 10. You get to send in 10 to 15 images. We're going to go blind, and then we'll talk about them. In that. So we're here. I agree with you, Bruce. And the reason I so jumped into this is that the webinar allows us to have a safe conversation and reach out to people in every aspect of the industry and also every location they're in. So this was the best way for us to have a safe place where we can have a dialogue and all share and help each other and support each other, and do this several times a week instead of, a lot of us are so busy, it's hard to be in one place at the same time, but it's very easy for us to suddenly jump on a phone or a Zoom meeting like this and share and also just ground ourselves.
Just to add to it, the other thing is social media. We obviously have seen toilet paper and breathing. The whole thing with your lungs is you just inhale very heavily and hold your breath. If you're doing okay, that's an indication that your lungs are good. You don't have to drink water and everything else.
Yeah.
But the whole thing.
I did discuss it. That's fake news and not true.
No, I know. Okay. But paying attention to your lungs is really the real thing about it. But
right.
Anyway, doing something like Instagram. Maybe this is a nice time to revisit, because everybody's sitting somewhere at their computer, revisit how photographers should really pay attention to their Instagram, how they should actually use it and the effectiveness of it and how to, it's a perfect time to kind of redo it, you know, could be great at this point.
Yeah, we could definitely, that could be one of the open talks that we have. And I know what we've done that a couple times in Knowledge Bank, but we can certainly revisit it here and in this virtual world, you say. And there's so many different topics we can talk about. And I would like to also bring in guests, you know, so if people have good guests, we can easily kind of put up one of these very quickly and have special guests talking about isolated topics that people are interested with. And here is, you know, this open talk is sort of a format where all of us can kind of say, oh, I'm worried about this, or I'm thinking about this, or I discovered this. And so we can grow on that topic and use it for the next, you know, open talk.
Travis, this is Debbie here. I just want to say that your suggestion about, you know, the things we always say we don't have time to do this or that. Now we have time. That is like, you know, giving ourselves permission to upgrade our skills, whether it's spending time on YouTube or with a stack of books. I know I have settled in here for the next, you know, I don't plan on leaving for like 5 days. I have a stack of books to read, and that's what's, you know, my plan is to have a staycation. It's nice. It's actually, you know, it's scary. You know, my plans for my business for, you know, the spring and summer have changed. But I was going to do a bunch of craft shows and stuff like that, selling my photographs, and that's not going to happen. But by the same token, there are always all these things I don't have time to do, and now I'll have time to do them, and I just have to batten down the hatches, eliminate all unnecessary expenses, and, you know, and use this as a time to regroup and improve skills and everything. And so I think that was a really terrific suggestion.
Yeah, you know, all of us are trying to figure this out right now, and none of us have, you know, all the answers. But I think with all of us kind of sharing here, we can kind of say, oh, that's a great idea, or that works, or that doesn't work, and or that's great for me. Is anyone else planning or doing different things differently? How is this affecting all of you? I'd like to hear, Jeremy, you know, have you lost jobs, or what's going on with you? How are you planning to really kind of maximize this downtime? What's your feeling on this? I think you need to unmute yourself there, Jeremy. Let's see what we got here. Oh, I don't hear you. You might have to enable your mic. We'll get back to you. So you might have settings and you have to enable your mic on this. Who else we got there? Jack, are you, can you talk? Let's,
Yes, can you hear me now?
yeah, there you are. Jack is our treasurer in New York. He's a part of the board of APA New York, so you know, he's in charge of our money. So, so Jack has his own studio, and you know, I'm sure. How has this affected your studio, and what are you kind of planning, or are you going to retreat up to the house upstate with the Tesla and relax, or where are you going with this?
I definitely look forward to spending more time upstate, because I can be there for an entire weekend and not see one other person.
Yeah.
So, you know, keep to my small herd. But no, I mean, I still have a couple of jobs to finish up, but I had a 3-day shoot for next week, which didn't cancel. It postponed for a month, but you know, we'll see what happens in a month.
Yeah.
You know, fortunately, I'm just coming off of a busy period, so I can kind of weather this storm if it doesn't go on for too long. And I'm just planning on keeping clean and reading and taking more time with my family, and working on my archives and on my photos.
Yeah.
One thing I did get is this oxygen meter. It's a little thing, you know, like they put it on your finger. You know, just because I do have asthma, so I tend to sometimes have a slightly, you know, less than perfect oxygen intake. And so I just wanted to, I thought it was like $10 or something, but I thought it would be useful in case because I do have a little bit of a cold right now.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not in my lungs, and it's not affecting my oxygen. So, and I'm taking my temperature regularly, you know, to just I'm not writing it down, but I'm just monitoring it, and I'm.
That's kind of actually a kind of great point. It's something you just said there. As a creative, how many other creatives that we know may be suffering from something that we don't know, and I think that's something as an accountability partner or someone that say, "Hey, let me call and check on Jack and make sure he's doing the right thing."
Yeah.
I think that's a very good thing that you mentioned there, because I never even considered my creative friends maybe having those same type of issues. Now feel like I have to call and say, "Hey, are you doing the right thing?" Or making sure they're taking their medications and things like that, just to make sure they're up to standard for what they need to do for their daily lives.
Yeah.
Try again. Can you hear me?
Hey, yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Hey, well, Jeremy.
So answer your question. As of right now, I have a shoot on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday of this coming, or Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday of this coming week. And I talked to one of the creatives from the agency today who said that he would see me on Monday. So I'm assuming that one's going to go through. I should start by stating that I primarily shoot food. So there is already a limited subset of people on set that would even have exposure or whatever. And the studio is in Jersey City. So there's less exposure risk from not having to go into the city. We had another shoot that it has been postponed until April, but we're going to try and convince them to keep the original date and let us do everything remotely. Because last year we had a job that was 5 weeks long and the client couldn't be here for 5 weeks. So we went through an entire process of setting ourselves up for remote approvals and remote delivery of images. So we're already fully capable of doing that. And it's just a matter of getting them to sign off on not having to be here, and we'll do the approvals, via a website called Pixie Set and good old fashioned texting.
Yeah, I would assume there's going to be a lot of change in this industry right now from being able to work remotely, and that doesn't help obviously event photographers and stuff like that, but able to certainly studio shoots can still go forward fairly easily, just because you're not you don't need a big crew on the set for a lot of these things, and you can really kind of work together to keep that safe distance from each other and really kind of monitor each other and still work. But the event photographers, I don't know if we have any on here. It's a kind of a different world, and I know it's going to affect them very, very hard, and it's going to affect all of us very hard. And this is kind of what do you do if you are so used to that money coming in and being scared? What would you suggest to people, Antonio?
I was just say, just to keep your wits about you and really just retool what you have, because I feel like at the end of the day, there's nothing with refining what you're knowing and what you're doing the day to day. And I think this is a great time now to try to figure out what problem can you solve and solidify yourself within the industry further. Because I feel like as a photographer, now we're in a period where you can really look through your workflow and figure out what ways to get the images faster to clients, without the less hands in it and things. There's problems that we can solve during this period. We just take the time now to figure it out.
Yeah. The other thing, I had a conversation with Jim Salzano today. He's a founding member of APA back in the day, who lived through 9/11 in New York City with a successful studio that had 5 employees at the time. And I asked him, what did you guys do? And he basically said he ended up getting a $50,000 grant and a $50,000 loan with 0% interest. It was payable over 5 years.
Oh, wow.
And that helped him get through. So for people who are freaking out about money, they're probably going to put a lot of those same things in place that were in place back then, because we just don't know how long this is going to last or how it's going to affect people. So the idea, because for me, I was freaking out at the idea of taking a loan. It's like, well, if work goes away, it's not necessarily going to come back when we come back up and running. You may just lose that work. So how do you pay back this loan? But then to hear that it's payable over 5 years with no interest, that makes it a lot easier. It means you can ramp up your work again, and you can figure out how to get new business, if some business goes away, before you have to really think about paying that thing off.
Yeah. And I know there's so many incredible useful links and that which we will share on the page and stuff like that to to really dive into, each of us have different things, from small business needs to freelance needs to gig needs and stuff like that, in terms of what we're looking for aid and all of that. So it's a tough one. So we can sort through that. And, if you're, one aspect of photography that can help out someone else, let us know. And also, what kind of questions do you have? What are your concerns in this? Because, how we program these open talks going forward are really going to rely on what your needs are as a photographer, and what your fears are, what your suggestions are. So it's really important that you interact with us, and please feel free to unmute your microphone, or if you can't figure it out, let me know in the chat and I'll unmute it for you. So with your feedback, we can really program all of these open talks to really kind of identify different things. And it's
Right.
it's going to be the most important thing that we can do, is to really support each other through this.
Right. I would love to hear from Amber and how things are on the West Coast, especially from her production standpoint, because I think she can also give a valuable insight on how the industry is looking from behind the scenes as well.
Hi.
Hey, Amber.
Hi, everybody. Thank you for having me and doing this. I think this is really great. I work for a small company. We're based in San Francisco, and we're branching out to Los Angeles. And we source real people talent for commercial photographers.
Okay.
So, we've been around for a very, very long time, over 20 years. And this has just been, I'm overwhelmed with kind of what's going on, because up until literally maybe 48 hours ago, we were all still plugging along. And then it really hit like a wall, and we were just like, what in the world is happening? So I think, our talent doesn't seem to be too scared. We still have some shoots going on right now as we speak. We have a few planned for the rest of the month that we have our contracts in place, and they have not yet canceled. So fingers crossed. And talent is very eager to work, and they don't seem to be worried about going out. So I think as far as our end goes with talent, we're not seeing it yet, but we're preparing for it. And what we're doing kind of in our offices here is just getting things updated that we've been ignoring for a really long time. The admin stuff. We're actually, sending emails out to talent to update their photos. They don't have to go anywhere. Just send us new photos to update your profile, so that when things do go on an upswing again, we're ready and we're prepared, and we can kind of be at the top of the list there. So I think being proactive in the things that we've all forgotten to do when we put our heads down and just continue to go is a really important tool.
How is it personally affecting you? How is your stress levels, and how are you dealing on a day-to-day?
Same thing. It's so weird. I'm not one to really get caught up in the hype of so many things, because there's so much going on all the time. Mm-hmm. And again, I was like, my mom is a pediatric nurse, and she was like, everything's fine, influenza's worse and all these things. And then literally 48 hours ago, I you know what it was? When Tom Hanks got coronavirus, I was like,
it's funny. Real. Yeah, it's funny that you say that, because a lot of people didn't put a face to it, and like everybody, Tom Hanks is like this adored, everybody feels like he's the guy next door, that he's a really accessible actor and just a good person. So I think that made it very real for people, and it's kind of scary that it took that to kind of make it really real for some people.
It is, and it is, but it really did it. And then going out to try to buy supplies is just, I felt a little bit of panic set in, and it's hard to really check in with your mental state and calm yourself down to a point where it's realistic for you and you need to prepare, but also try not to get so caught up in the hype that it starts to affect you even more than it needs to. There's that delicate balance right there, if that makes sense. It's just
And I think that's why it's so important to really kind of check in on a daily level of your mental stress and your mental health. It's now more than ever, just because you don't realize it's creeping in, this panic and this, all of this, that because you start realizing, oh my God, I've read so much on social media. I've read, there's so much on the news, and who do I believe, and this, that, and the other. It's like suddenly we have to take a time to really decompress, turn off all media, and just really remember to breathe, and just take a moment just to kind of like, all right. And then kind of check in with, the people that balance you out, and, and talk to people that keep you a little sane, and check in and really kind of start talking to people again. And, those are important things right now.
They really are. They really are. And I think it's really important to remember that it's going to end. This isn't a forever thing. We just don't know how long, and that can be scary, but trying to be proactive, trying to stay creative, because I know we're all creative people, and doing whatever you can to feed that creative part of you, big or small, is really good for your mental state as well.
So in terms of future things, in terms of these ongoing open talks, what was something you would like to see in the future? Like, oh man, if we could just address this, or I'd love, it's like, this would be a real great escape for me, or I'd love some kind of topic on that. Is there anything that comes to mind for you in future talks like this, or, are things we can kind of do on a weekly level that would kind of be good?
Since this is the first time our company has been involved with the APA San Francisco for a very long time. I'm just getting involved in APA LA. And so I'm kind of feeling myself out with this whole organization, and I'm just loving it. So I will have to think on that. And
when I say that, it's more of as people helping people in this photography business. It doesn't have to be, yes, we're this is APA, a lot of us are behind this, but I don't want to just say it's APA. We're photographers looking at photographers and people caring about people. And that's the most important thing right now, is that we're really kind of supporting each other in this. And, there's plenty of organizations like that. ASMP just did a wonderful thing with legal stuff in terms of force majeure and contracts and stuff like that the other day. And, we all kind of jumped in on that. So all of us, together make this industry stronger and ourselves stronger. So these are the important things.
That's awesome. Yeah, I think just hot topics that may come up that some of us may not think is a big deal, but all of us are kind of dealing with. I mean, I don't know. I'm in California, so right now the big talk of the day is the AB5 with the payroll and paying talent and all that stuff. That's a big chaotic mess, and addressing that situation is always helpful. But it's just great to come together and know that all you guys are out there and we're all supporting each other.
Yeah.
Yes.
Who else? What else is? Who else? How are people dealing with this on their own personal lives and levels? Is anyone doing anything differently yet, or is it just kind of absorbing, all this? Because I know we've been kind of living with this that we knew it was there, the coronavirus, in the last couple of months and stuff like that. But now suddenly in the last 48 hours, we've seen everything kind of close and everything canceled. And it got very real with, all the trade shows being canceled and South by Southwest and Shutterfest and, and NAB. And, it's just kind of crazy. Palm Springs Photo Festival is now moved. I mean, it's like, and, all of these things we've made plans for, and airlines tickets and hotel reservations, is like, wow, I don't know where my life is going to be in the next couple of months. And I don't know where the jobs are coming from. So right now is a really kind of, pivotal point in our lives where we're just kind of hanging on a thread, not knowing what's next. And I think the uncertainty of that and how everything is changing minute by minute, so this is a growing thing. And I think if we plan this and know that's all right, if we look at the predetermining things that are out there, if you look at Italy and you look at the thing and see all right, we're maybe 10 days behind what they're doing and stuff like that. So we know we're sort of at the beginning of this. It's going to ramp up even more. So we have to prepare ourselves for a little more time of isolation, a little more time of kind of battening down the house hatch and a lot more cancellations, which is going to affect us in major, major ways for a lot of us for months to come after this. Even, whether we get sick or not, it's almost secondary, the coronavirus. It's the effects of the economy and what's going to happen there that's really going to hurt most of us. So what are your feelings on that? And is anyone doing anything differently?
For me,
I'm not doing anything differently, but something I'm trying to make sure that I do every day or nearly every day is work out, eat healthy. Drinking tea with elderberry just to boost my immune system. But, for anybody who always says they don't have enough time to work out, well, now's a good time to figure out some sort of a routine that you might be able to
sleep more
forward, that will help your health in the future. So
yeah. Deborah, you were about to say something?
I think for me, what made it real is when the Broadway shows went dark. That was like suddenly it went to a different level. Because I generally, if this had happened 10 years ago, when there were grown-ups in charge, I wouldn't have, succumbed to any of this. And I think I'm not going to succumb to the hype. I'm just going to be relaxed, and I know enough about medical stuff and everything. But then I started to freak out yesterday. I decided to come out to New Jersey to my family's house so I don't have to deal with elevators or public transport, and because you can't stay away from people in the city. Yeah. And when there's nothing to do in the city, everything's closed down. That's the whole point of being in the city, is the culture. So when all the culture is closed down, why be there? So I had lucky that I had the opportunity to get out of the city. I still wasn't panicked, but but then when I went to the supermarket and I saw everyone else panic, I thought, oh my gosh, you know, it's just, it was, and I could see that's probably why the people there were panicking, because they saw, it was like became this group, this hive mind, you know.
Yeah.
So, you know, but now I'm, you know, I don't have to leave the house for a while, though I'm leaving to do my power walk and all that stuff. But I mean, like, I don't have to go any place, and, you know, I'm in, you know, for a while until I have to go back to the city next Wednesday for something. But I just feel like at least I don't have to, you know, use elevators. I don't have to, you know, I was like self-quarantining, even though I don't have to be quarantined, you know, not self-quarantining, social distancing. Yeah.
I think that as long as we have the information and you know, and know the information, it makes us stronger in the fact that we don't need to panic.
Yeah.
If we understand that, you know, washing your hands and isolating and staying 3 to 6 feet from people, that's, I mean, the whole reason of all this quarantining and stuff like that is to try and get ahead of it. It's, you know, we can't contain it, so we have to mitigate it. And the actual, you know, when you cancel all these events and all these things, it actually does reduce the amount and the effect and timeline of all these people affecting it. So it's going to be tough for the next month or two, and we're really going to have to figure this out. I agree with the grocery store thing today. I'm like, I'm not a panic mind, I'm not a hive mind, but today I'm starting to see all these pictures of, you know, shopping carts and everything sold out. I'm like, I better get there before everything I want to eat is sold out. Like, anyway, it was like suddenly like I'm going to buy a little more because, you know, all these people are buying it up, and suddenly like I got to go get what I want to eat for the next couple of weeks. You know, it's like it's crazy.
Literally the only thing left in the frozen food aisle were 2 packages of riced cauliflower.
Yeah, you really get to know what people like to eat and what they don't like to eat.
So true.
I went to the store last night and I had no problems finding the things that I wanted, because all I eat are like fresh veggies and fruits and stuff like that. And that was all still there. All the veggies were gone.
People are panic buying the junk food.
Right.
Right.
And I also think it's a really good time that, you know, through these open talks that we connect and talk, because creatively we can also help each other. I mean, some of us live in the same cities and stuff like that, and we can certainly, you know, it's the big groupings that you really have to be wary for. We can plan, you know, like suddenly it's like I can sit down with someone or virtually, you know, help someone with their portfolio, or someone that's, you know, shoots food can give, you know, it's like Jeremy can say, hey man, I can help you out and teach you a couple things there. We can really help strengthen each other in this time and put stuff together. Like I could talk to 2 of you and do a little shoot and do something for my portfolio that I haven't had a chance of, you know, a little, you know, personal project or something like that. We can really help each other through this time and be creative and create stuff that we don't normally have time for.
Right. And I think you hit it on the head. I think this time now to really focus on your passion and personal projects, you know, where you can really use and just lose yourself and kind of lose sight of all the day-to-day that's going on around you, and just pour yourself into something creatively that, you know, help you to find your balance. And, you know, with me, I think, you know, that's the key for me to stay sane. With having a 2-year-old, you know, besides him running around and things like that, I think the way I have to succumb to, you know, finding my new normal per se, would be to pull myself into personal projects and passion projects just to learn new things, because my primary work is beauty and fashion. So why not try other things like food or products and things like that, just to, you know, find your relaxed mode.
It's a time we really can, if we use it wisely, we can come out of this, you know, ahead. I know that the financial part is never going to be easy on this, and it's not a lot of solutions at that. And each person is different, and we're going to have to really kind of assess personally where our finances are, and really kind of gauge how much you need to cut back or how much you need to do. But I would do plans for, you know, always look at the situation, the worst situation, because if you start there, everything's better. So if you know, like, wow, I really need to cut this out, or I need to do this, you know, understand that, you know, I give myself 15 days, and if it's still this way, then I'm going to cut out this much. And if it's 30 days and we're still at, but prep yourself for 2 months, or, you know, something like that. Have these different contingency plans, and really kind of, you know, how often do we actually go down and like, oh wow, I can't believe it, I'm actually paying for Hulu, Netflix, Amazon Prime, HBO Go, and then suddenly like, wow, I'm paying that every month. Like, it might be time to go through that credit card statement and really go, well, I don't need this, and this, and I can reduce down this, and this, and it's a good time to really kind of assess where you're standing and really kind of know where you need to be.
Yeah.
Right.
Any other questions on or sharing anything? Let's kind of, I know, hey, Jeff, you're so quiet over there. I know you're right there. Come on, I'm going to unmute you. There you are. How's things going in your neck of the woods, Jeff?
So far, so good. So, I mean, it's like everybody else. I mean, it's if you can get overwhelmed listening to all the social media and everything else. And I think it's smart to kind of step away from it and just go outside and go for a walk in the woods. Nobody else is there. So,
Yeah.
It probably recharge your batteries, so to speak. And what I'm going to do also is I like a lot of helpful suggestions going through your portfolio and all that kind of stuff, which I think is a great idea.
Yeah.
And but there's even some house projects to kind of get away from the creative thing. I mean, I've got molding I've been meaning to put up for 3 years. It's a perfect time to do it,
Exactly.
And, so there's just stuff like that I think it'll be good. I don't have a lot of jobs lined up right at the very moment, so I'm I don't know if that's good or bad, but
Right.
it's I think we'll all weather through this. I think that the self-care idea is really, really important. And I agree with what everybody says. And I remember reading that one of the big things you can do is make sure you get enough sleep. That's the major thing, is just make sure you get enough sleep.
Yeah, I know when people stress, they tend to eat and eat comfort foods and forget about exercising and stuff like that. It's a really good time to each day kind of take those moments to that whole mindful awareness of just taking a moment to kind of decompress, do a little exercise, go out for a walk, do things that really kind of that fresh air is going to be good, and a lot of the outdoor activities are very safe to do because the way so it's much safer to be outside anyway. So I know a lot of us also have concerns of family and infecting others and stuff like that, and older people that if I went to visit my mom or something like that, I'd be concerned about where I was and stuff like that. So we have pressures coming from every angle. So it's kind of you have to have these moments where you can actually just talk to people and really kind of share, because it's okay to have those feelings. It's okay to get stressed, but if you don't have an outlet to really kind of just talk about it and share with people, it can be overwhelming. So I don't want this to be a place here like if you had a bad day or something like that, it's like I'm a little worried about this and like that. So the support system is here for people.
No, that's great. This is a great idea. I really like this. This is a great idea.
So Antonio, what are you doing on the day-to-day? Has anything changed yet for you?
For me, nothing has changed yet. I've been getting a lot of emails on today from different clients who maybe want to pull back because they're watching the news and different things like that as well. So right now, for me, it's business as usual. I'm full speed ahead for me. I feel like the minute, I take my focus off where I need to go, I will slow down and fall to and succumb to the things you see on social media and things like that. So for me, I just occupy my time with, my morning motivations, my rituals of reading and things like that, just to fill my time up. I feel like as long as my time is occupied and I focus on what I need to get done, everything else will fall itself in place.
And you're hitting Facebook and social media from multiple angles, so your personal social media is going to be very different than your business of photography. So how have people reacted, and how are you seeing the change on your business of photography page? What kind of responses are you getting, and questions and concerns?
From what I'm seeing in the business of photography, a lot of people are really concerned on the survival of it. Some are within their first year or 2 years of being creatives, freelancing on their own. They really are concerned about, what's the next step. And I honestly tell them just, hey, just keep pushing forward. This time will pass. They have to understand, they're not the first creators that have been through it, and they're not going to be the last ones to ever go through this. You just have to stay focused on where you want to go. And I think, the uncertainty for them is, I just left my 9 to 5. I don't know, how I'm sustained. I was like, just keep pushing forward. It will open back up, and just be ready and sharpen your iron until you get there, and you can't lose sight of the greater vision.
Yeah. Definitely agree. And how about you, Jeremy? What are your, besides the daily routines, are you planning to do something with your time that you haven't done? What are you gonna you have a little extra time now? Where are you gonna put it?
Well, I had already planned and have had a couple of meetings with a couple of people about doing some testing. So I think for me, as someone who doesn't need a lot of people in the studio and a lot of hands, I can, to do testing with new food stylists is relatively easy.
Yeah.
As long as they're still up for getting over to Jersey for the testing.
Yeah.
I have this personal project that I've been shooting for last 3 or 4 months that has gotten a really good reception, and I need to shoot some more stuff for that. So I plan on doing some of that.
That's awesome.
You know, and just really sitting down and analyzing things like, you know, you guys are talking about social media. I've been, you know, I did a workshop that was all about social media, you know, the other day, and looking at, you know, that and being able to try and implement some of the things that I've learned and kind of retooling some things and, you know, prepping yourself. And then, you know, the other thing, I had a really good Skype call with a friend yesterday, and we started talking about the possibility of a new business venture. You know, so there's also the opportunity, if you've seen your business starting to slow down or not exactly going in the direction that you thought it was going to, now's the opportunity to really take some time and decide how you can pivot and where you pivot to. So,
and I have to say, this is actually a really good time to maximize on certain things that you may not have done before. If you know there's certain clients that you want to work with, if you know there's certain, you know, people you wanted to reach out to, people have a lot of time now. They're, you know, they're going to be at home and looking and stuff like that. This is probably a really good time to, you know, reach out to people and say, hey, I know things are kind of crazy and stuff like this. I want to introduce myself and say, you know, when things ramp up, I would love to sit down and talk with you. There's probably going to be a little more receptive of people kind of reaching out for information and talking to people at this moment, just because, you know, yeah, the rest of their lives has kind of been put on hold. So this is really, you want to maximize on these times right now.
I do feel like this might not be the right time to send out a printed promo.
No, yeah, I agree with that. I think emails and stuff like that. Yeah. You know, it's like, especially, you know, postmarked from, you know, Italy or anything like that.
Right.
I've been catching up with friends who I usually don't have enough time or don't make the time to talk to over the year.
Yeah.
People who around the country, and I have found that, you know, I'm concerned about them, and I just want to make sure that they're okay. And
yeah.
It's nice to have an opportunity and a reason to call them, and just, you know, instead of the Christmas card, you know, this is like, you know, how are you doing?
And while we're talking about it, on Sunday, March 29th, we do have a peer review. So if you know, you want to join us for that, you can submit here and register, and it's all free, and it's going to be a virtual peer review, and you can submit to 10 to 20 images, and it'll be a blind review. So we'll start as a blind review, so you'll be able to talk and anonymously and really kind of share images. And then I think it's always fun to go when and share images when you don't know who it is, and suddenly you talk about it, and then the photographer opens up and says, all right, this is what the project's about, this, and then suddenly you see the critique changes so rapidly and so differently just with that. It's kind of interesting to see both impressions. Once, you know, when you're just talking about 10 photos and you know nothing about them, and then you find out a little backstory and about the photographer, how suddenly your critique will change very drastically. So it should be a fun thing, and it's a great one for us to do virtually. So I'm kind of excited to do this one. So if you want more information on that, check out APA, and we'll have these links on APA New York and Facebook and stuff like that. You're welcome to join. You don't need to be a member to join that. The members only need to be a member, but for the other one, you don't need to be a member. So it's a good place to stay abreast of where we're going to do the next open talks and get information on where, you know, so you continue to be with us.
Sounds good there. I can't wait to see what the next chat is about, because I think this is a great opportunity to really you know, to build and solidify our community of creators. Also to you know, that really, you know, let us know that we're there to support you throughout this endeavor.
Yeah, and please, if you are muted right now, unmute yourself and let us know, because we're going to wrap this up fairly shortly. So if you haven't said anything and want to pitch in and have your voice heard right now, that's great. If not, then you can always email me at chairman@apanewyork.com. And if you were too shy to or didn't want to talk over the thing here, you can hit me with ideas or feedback, how we can improve this and stuff we can do in the future, and what might work for you. So I'll give a moment here if anyone wants to pitch in last moments.
I would just want to say thank you to APA for doing this. Debbie here. This is like the antidote for self-isolating.
Right. Yeah. You know, it's nice to know that you're not alone. You know, that we're all kind of going through this, and these are important and crucial times for all of us. And it's something that where we can all kind of hear and update each other and help each other through this. It makes it a lot easier.
Imagine if this was happening before social media, before the internet. We'd all be in our
You'd have to like hold a blackboard up to the window and like, you know, just show it to your neighbor, you know, quick little signs like, hey.
Or send postcards.
Yeah, well,
Right.
now nobody would want to touch a postcard.
Yeah.
That's the thing. You know,
Well,
like,
you just
wait a
have to have a
minute.
box of gloves so that
Yeah,
when
I mean,
you
you-
throw
Yeah, right.
those cards, you can put them on.
You look at you know, the polling places. They're saying do not lick the envelopes, and do not lick. It's like, you know, so there's real fear out there. So people just don't want to touch things.
I have a quick question before we
Yeah,
go. And this is
yeah.
totally off topic, but did anybody get their census email?
I did.
I did.
I just got my
Mhm.
census in the mail actually.
Nobody's nobody's talking about it. It's like, census what? But we all have to fill it out, and I'm like, oh, I don't know if I should be touching this, opening this. I don't know what's going on. But I'm obviously we're all going to do it. But I think it's just very strange. I don't want to say comic, but it's very different timing that they're sending out a census right now when we're going through a pandemic.
Yeah,
Well, I think they probably
Yeah.
started sending it out
yeah.
I think
already,
long-
and
long-
it's all automated, but I get the feeling that it may all get suspended until next year, and if you send it back now, they'll probably just throw it in a pile and burn it.
Yeah, I was thinking, I'm like,
There've already been some fake census things going out. A certain political party doing dirty tricks and sending people fake census things so that when they get the real census forms, they don't fill them out. Generally, they're targeting minority communities because they don't want a full count because that affects, you know, the representation in the House of Representatives and stuff. But yeah, I guess that's something to ask. That's a good question to find out about. I'm going to fill it out because I think
I think that obviously we can kind of look into that. You know, the virus supposedly only lasts 8 to 10 days. So, you know, 10 days from now, fill out your census.
and they're also never touched by human hands
But
anyway.
it lives 10 days outside the body?
There's well, I don't want, I'm not a health official, and you know, I'm going off the stuff I read. Now there's wandering numbers from different surfaces, from metal to wood and stuff like that, where metal, it lives a little longer, to different surfaces that are porous and stuff like that. So that, you know, they're saying definitely between 4 to 10 hours, you know, on a lot of this stuff. But there are some people that err on the side of caution, saying it could last up to 4 to 10 days on certain surfaces and stuff like that. So no one said past that yet. So I'm just going to the extreme of what I've heard. Now, obviously,
Yeah.
go
I think the
further
census
links and
is,
stuff.
I think the census forms would all be safe. I mean, they would, first of all, they're done mechanically.
Yeah, except for that postman that put it in your damn box. No, I'm just kidding.
But if you're afraid of that, you should not get your mail at all.
that's true.
Mhm. Exactly.
Or quarantine your mail for 10 days. Like,
Yeah, exactly. You put it in the oven and kill it off, and wash it off with sanitizer. You'll be fine. You know, Lysol it. You know, there's so many
Got some
steps.
great ideas kicking around.
I think for me, what's making it more real is like I've had the news on a couple times today, and I watch CBS, and I'm pretty sure that all of their anchors have been quarantined.
It's funny. You're seeing some of this start to happen. Different
they had 2 people tested positive at CBS yesterday.
Yeah.
Right,
What's
and today the news at noon was like the host of Entertainment Tonight or something like that, or Inside Edition. The host of
It's
Inside
like
Edition.
it's, you know, some people are getting psyched. It's like the miners stepping up into the big leagues. Like, yes.
Right. Tonight there's one anchor, and it's someone that I don't even know. And Nora O'Donnell's okay because she's in DC. So
It's going to be crazy. The last time you had, you know, I mean, if you remember back, even just the writer's strike and stuff like that's what birthed reality TV, and, you know, unfortunately our president today. But you look at right now, you know, production on many shows and stuff like that is going to be halted, in series and stuff like that. This will obviously have a longer effect. You know, it's like you know, on the seasons of TV that are coming out, on the shows that we're watching and stuff like that. You know.
Yeah, I had lunch with a friend of mine at the lot on Paramount, and it was 2 days ago. And I asked him, like, so what's going on? Are you guys being ordered to kind of go home and work? And 2 days ago, he said, you know, it's volunteer. It's very voluntarily. They're all just setting us up. And then literally yesterday, they're shutting everything down.
Yeah,
So.
in the last 48 hours is what's kind of amazing, in the amount of stuff that just went. It was you know, the landslide effect. You know, one person did it, then the next person, then everybody. Oh, this is real, and it was done. And that's when everybody kind of took it very seriously and said, all right, we're canceling everything. Yeah.
I just want to chime in really quick and say that during the quarantine, I am learning how to make bread. So
I love
if
that.
anyone wants to make some bread, we can make bread physical bread, not money bread. We can
We can get together and break bread.
Have you picked,
yes, we
have you
can
picked your
break bread.
first top three different types of bread you're doing? Are you starting out with like sourdough, or are you jumping into
I'm actually starting out with something less exciting, some gluten-free bread, because
very nice.
because dieting, quarantining, it's all related.
Good luck there. I've tried making gluten-free bread and it was like a doorstop. So
Jessica?
I wish you Godspeed.
Crossing my fingers. Someone said my name.
Down right.
I did. This is Damien here. I'm out on the West Coast. I just want to volunteer to eat the bread if you want to. I'm good with that.
Now that's what makes Damien unmute his microphone. The bread.
Hey, it's all about the food, man. Come on.
I concur. I can mail it. I think any virus will die in the mail at some point.
So what you're saying is that the next open talk should be based on a cooking show.
Yeah.
I would love that personally.
Amy Oliver here.
But also on the topic, I would really love to hear what you guys would love to hear from us. So definitely shoot us an email if there's anyone you want us to bring on. We can try ask an expert with something we're kind of going back and forth with. So it would be great to see who you guys would like to hear from, what categories, lawyers, copyright, whatever. Yeah,
I know we were visiting that Jeremy and I were talking offline, and a little while ago we did Jack's tax lawyer. We did a workshop with his tax lawyer, and we certainly want to bring him back. And Jeremy had the wonderful idea of bringing him back to discuss taxes in this time of coronavirus, especially with extensions and stuff like that. Hopefully, maybe some people will be interested in that as well.
Yeah.
I want to thank everybody for joining us, and I want to thank our wonderful guest host, Antonio, and
thank you.
hopefully you will be ongoing guest host and many more to come.
Definitely.
And,
Thank you, guys.
I want to thank everybody. Be safe out there, and please reach out anytime. I'm so easy to reach at chairman@apanewyork.com. Jessica is here, and I don't think the other board members that are here as well. You don't have to be part of APA. We'd love to have you, but if you are, you know where to reach us. And if you don't, check us out on Facebook. We have a wonderful APA New York page, and we're also online as well. But APA New York, you'll see. I will quickly update the next open talk and other future things in the peer review and stuff like that. So you can really kind of stay abreast to what we're doing and what we're scheduling, because we're going to try and schedule a lot of stuff to keep our minds entertained while we have time, and kind of review and help and aid and do a bunch of different stuff that keeps us focused and gets us.
Maybe we should start a thread on Facebook, shows that people are watching that they think everybody else should watch.
I have a list. I have a list of great stuff. I can help with that, no problem. I watch so much of that.
Thanks for doing this. Thanks for doing this. This is wonderful. Really appreciate it.
Such a pleasure, and great to see you, Jeff. Always nice to see you.
Guys, I just want to let you know also, I quickly put the link to Business of Photography in the group chat. I would love for each and every one of you to be a part of the community. I think you have a wealth of knowledge that everyone could really benefit from, and I just want to say thank you for joining us today.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. I just joined while we were talking here.
Fantastic. Thank you, everybody. I will post up the next one in the next day or so once we get some feedback from you. And please feedback. Let us know what works for you, what do you want to hear, and stuff like that. And look forward to talking to you. Be safe out there, and we'll talk to you soon.
Thank you.
Bye, everyone.
Thanks. See you.
Bye.
Wash your hands, everybody.
Exactly.